Mouth Gazette, though. Editors there couldn't give a toss about hanging her. Shame.
Not
Poor Gale. I hope he knows that a goddess abandoning him needn't be the end. I know from experience.
Of course.
Well, don't stand in ceremony. Come here.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
Yes.
Mistra has a shrine within the city, located in the Storm Shore Tabernacle, if my memory serves me.
Do whatever you need to. But I shan't be paying my respects to any of the gods on show.
You never felt the call of the divine, Astarion?
Oh, I tried them all. None of them answered.
Types don't care what goes on in this street.
Bother looking for her? Looking for...
support ourselves, huh?
Michael, exactly. You're sensible.
The truth is the truth. We trust our readers to make up their own minds.
That might be worth a look.
Loitering is what you've been doing. Loitering with intent.
You should start your own opinion column.
I can do that. I have loads of opinions.
I was joking. You really are that interesting.
He's a man. Promised at least 100 more watches before the year is out.
Good. Once Gortash clears off the cultists.
Both the Gospel and the Gazette have been drier than the Anorak recently.
Lightbringer Gortash will show us the way. Such a good job, Brother Gazette. Her power waxes. And soon, the sun will reach its zenith. Should you want it to, or otherwise?
Mistra's likeness. It's been some time since I stood before her in a place like this.
There she stands, just as Elminster promised. Mistra, goddess of the weave, mother of all magic.
The old man wasn't lying. She's opened the summoning channel. Can't you feel it?
Gale's right. The very air around the statue crackles with magic. It sets your teeth on edge.
A stream of pure, undiluted weave. I only have to reach out, and it will carry me to Mistra, wherever she may be.
An audience with your goddess can go wrong. I should know. But do whatever you feel is best, Gale.
Time was, I'd have given my right arm for a chance to speak with Mistra again. The left one, too. Maybe a knee. Not the message one hopes to receive from a past lover. But her first love was always the weave. At best, I was a close second. When I pictured this moment, I thought I'd feel more in control. Yet, here I am, with palms sweatier than a bugbear's armpit. I always wonder what being nervous would feel like. I hate it. For a wizard, to have the love of the goddess of magic herself, it was intoxicating. An experience beyond expression. During my time locked away in Waterdeep, I prepared a quite comprehensive speech for her on the subject of our former relationship and the manner in which it ended. Alas, recent events have rendered the majority of it moot, so I'm gonna have to improvise. Unless you have any words of wisdom to impart before I go. You'd make a fine three-dragon anti-player, you know? I think it's best I keep a cool head going into this. Approach it like a particularly high-risk round of three-dragon ante. I'll let Mistress show her flight, and then I can see how strong a chance we stand of winning the gambit. I'll only be gone for a matter of moments. The Outer Planes experience time quite differently to our own. Wait for me. Please.
Gale of Waterdeep. You look well.
As do you. But I assume we're not here solely to exchange compliments. So why am I here?
You discovered what lies at the heart of the Absolute, the crown of Karsus. And you disobeyed my instruction. Why?
Because you had no right to ask that of me. You cast me out. Remember?
You were my lover, my chosen. Yet still you know so little of me. The past cannot be undone with self-pity, nor can a future be forged. Only with the truth will you see the way ahead. The fragment of magic you tried to return to me was not of my creation. It was the Karsite Weave. It is a corrupted, half-born magic, wrought in the brief moment Karsus ascended to godhood. It hungers for power, just as he did, and it can never be sated. You unleashed something that would consume all magic in existence, and yet you thought only of preserving yourself.
So that's what you're scared of. With the crown of Karsus reforged, I could take control of the Karsite Weave.
You can no more control the Karsite Weave than a weather vane could control a storm. That it entered your body and consumed no more than your powers was a miracle. But we will not be granted another. The only reason the orb sleeps is because I have allowed it to feed on the true weave. A temporary measure, but one that will not be enough to save us. With each day that passes, the Elder Brain threatens to become a new kind of god. Its worshippers, a scourge of soulless illithids. If you will not use the orb to end this abomination, then you must find a way to separate crown and host. When you've done this, you must surrender the crown of Karsus to me.
A great ask indeed. You've given me much to think on, as you always did.
So be it. Follow the needle of your own wisdom. We shall see how truly it leads you.
Let's move.
Salutations.
And these things have stayed interesting.
Mortal soil once more. I can't believe I saw it. After all this time. And what you felt was but the slightest drop, drawn from the rushing torrent that is the weave. I confess, without my former prowess, even I struggle to stand her presence. The effects on the mortal body of such unfettered magical exposure cannot be overestimated. She held back in order to protect us, to make sure I heard her. The Karsite Weave, within me this whole time. I knew the orb was no ordinary ball of magic before it to be Karsus's malignant creation. Gods! How did I not see that? But I should have known. What right had I to go about declaring myself an archmage when I was as foolish as a common apprentice in setting such an entity loose? At least now I'm armed with the truth, and Mistra's expectations. Sounds like the door to redemption is open at last. All I have to do is walk through it, carrying the crown of Karsus. Thank you. There aren't many I'd trust to stand beside me on such a journey. Fewer still who would do so because they believed I deserved such a chance. If I could promise you one thing in return for your faith in me, it's this. I will use everything in my power to ensure we defeat this evil. I will not let you down. Now, I believe we've a date with an Elder Brain to get to. Shall we?
Divine protectors of Baldur's Gate.
Mystra has forsaken Gale entirely. A crushing blow. But he is strong enough to persevere, I think. Why, hello, lover. That sounded more debonair in my head, I'll admit. Do you need something?
So, Gale's hedging his bets with Mystra? I can't say I blame him. Who'd want to hold a power like the crown of Karsus in their hands just to hand it to someone else? I know what my decision would be, but we're all different, of course.